Hey everybody, Mike McWilliams, upstairs to the right music channel. Thank you so much for joining us. A little bit of homework every Sunday night, Central European time at 11 p.m. We do a live stream called Sunday at Mike's. I would really love it if you took the time to join in. A lot of fun, a lot of great topics. So 11 p.m. Central European time, Sunday night, Sunday at Mike's. Please tune in if you can. All right, just a little short subject today. I'm going to talk about buffers in your signal chain. You know, I have what I consider to be a very small pedal board consisting of 7 pedals. I never thought to myself that in this situation, something like a level set buffer, something in order to make sure an even level goes through that pedal board would be necessary. Generally, I tend to think it's something for a live situation, at least with my old school thinking, that's what I thought. Well, I got my hands on this Fender Level Set Buffer because I thought to myself, well, you know, it has a load function on here that simulates the same kind of load that you would get going into a real tube amp. And I said, well, that'd be a cool thing since on my pedal board, I'm trying to emulate a Fender tube amp, so to speak. And so, you know, I said, let's give it a try. Wow. I was blown away. No, you don't have to do live gigs to enjoy the benefits of a buffer on your pedal board, especially if you're doing an ampless setup. As a matter of fact, I'm convinced now that I can't do without this. It is that big of a change on my pedal board. Now, you are best served by taking something like this and putting it at the front of your pedal board. You know, a lot of pedals come with built-in buffers. I was fortunate enough to notice that my TC Electronics Hall of Fame also had a buffer switch on the back that you could choose between a buffer and true bypass, so to speak. And I could therefore have one at the beginning of my chain and one at the end of my signal chain. And I thought to myself, hey, that might be the way to go. So first, let's take a look at the back of that TC Electronics Hall of Fame and look at that switch. And then let's set up the pedal board and we'll talk a little bit more about that. All right, as you can see here on the back of this pedal, there is, on the back of the Hall of Fame, we've taken the back off. In the back of the pedal, there are a set of dip switches. These dip switches control a bunch of different functions that you can do on this pedal. For today, what we did is we set this from a true bypass pedal to a buffered pedal. So now we have a buffered pedal here, and typically you would want to put this at the end of your signal chain, and that's exactly where it's going to go. So that is actually fantastic. So that is at the end of the chain, buffer pedal is going to be this TC Electronic Hall of Fame reverb. So as I mentioned, you're going to want to have 2 buffers, one at the beginning of your chain and one at the end of your chain. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this Fender set buffer as the front of our chain load. You know, the idea of emulating amp from one part of its signal all the way through its chain leading out through the speaker is what you're trying to achieve here with an ampless pedal rig. And a level set buffer like this is fantastic because it does 2 things. One thing is it, of course, acts as your level set buffer, so just like the load that you get going into any old amp or Fender amp. Also, one other thing it does is with these control, the level and the high frequency controls, you can adjust the buffer to the coil of the pickups that you're using, either a single coil pickup or humbuckers. So a fantastic thing. There's also a load switch there that you can use that emulates, of course, again, like the load going through a tube amp. So this is a great emulation pedal to use from that standpoint in an ampless rig. Okay, so here we have the pedal board all set up and rewired again. I've put my level set buffer here in the beginning and my Hall of Fame set to buffer mode here at the end. It has really substantially improved my overall tone. I've got to tell you, I think having this Hall of Fame going through the effects loop on this F1 really was a big mistake. especially with it having been set in buffer mode. It was pushing a lot of signal through here, through the other pedals, causing a lot of noise. Now that it's where it really should be at the end of my chain, with that buffer set, this is just quiet. This board is extremely quiet. So if you're thinking about putting together a ampless rig, definitely getting a level set buffer, at least one at the beginning of your rig, is really going to make a big difference, I think. This really is fantastic, and I can't see myself going back to using amps again. There may be some changes between the preamps, but everything else I think is really set, and can't be more happy about that.